It's Mik'd Up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J. Mitch. We got Jackie Boy.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys would come in and say,
oh, God.
So me and Joe on the ground, I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there, he's punching me in the stomach, like steady punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around, who here thinks Chico can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's doing the team 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Chico can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the Spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
You heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her and I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for the show.
You had a circus or something.
I'm late. Like, I don't even know what I'd be doing.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should
Players. Look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now.
Hello. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today is Monday, September 25th. We have a big show for you today. We are going to recap SEC win number 2. SEC home opener this past weekend against Arkansas. LSU did a lot of really good things. Did some things not so great. Ultimately came out with a win. Rivalry game. Obviously, Brian Kelly's talked about it since the game has ended. Rivalry games are always hard. They're always difficult to get through. All you need to do is get the win. Just win, baby. That's the name of the game. And especially in the SEC, where a lot of people are trying to figure some stuff out. As long as you can accumulate these wins and you continue to move on to the next weekend, that's the only thing that matters. Obviously, LSU did that this past weekend. First half was not great offensively, specifically. Second half was a whole lot better. It was almost like a different team was playing. We're going to break that down a little bit. Defensively, there's a lot of question marks, a lot of issues, a lot of things happened, but ultimately they came up with the win, game-winning field goal. They move on. Like we said, the spread was 17.5. I thought that was a little bit aggressive by Vegas.
Didn't take it.
What's that?
So I hope you didn't take it.
Yeah, no doubt.
I did not take that.
I mean, I think we all did not take the 17.5. I think that was a little bit aggressive.
I think we screen take Arkansas on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
17.5 was that's a big spread. But LSU escapes. They move on. They have a 5 o'clock game this Saturday against Ole Miss, another ranked opponent. Ole Miss goes to Alabama. I think a lot of people thought they were going to come out victorious or at least cover the spread. I thought they were going to at least cover the spread. They did not do either. Alabama beat them 24-10. It wasn't as high-scoring a game as I think everybody thought it was going to be. Alabama seems to have Ole Miss's number or Lane Kiffin's number. Lane Kiffin's an offensive mastermind, but against Alabama, they don't really score much. So hopefully, Alabama showed you the things that you need to do to defend Ole Miss's offense. But Ole Miss goes there, loses. They lose now. That's their first SEC loss, first loss of the season. Now they have to take on LSU at home. The game after Alabama is always pretty tough for whoever plays against Alabama. They're usually pretty beat up. I like LSU's chances in that. They go to the road. I think they open up as a 3-point favorite. LSU does at Ole Miss. But it's 5 o'clock. I enjoy that. I'm glad it's not 5. Then you got to go on the road to Missouri the next week. They decided, hey, Missouri snuck their way back into the top 25. The LSU-Missouri game is 11 a.m. game. They always do. I feel like they always do that when LSU goes up to Columbia, Missouri. And it's just they try. I feel like they just try to like, hey, it's a sleepy game. We're going to put you at 11. Let's see if you come through it. It didn't happen in 2020, whenever the COVID year, right? I feel like the last times we go up to Missouri it has not been great.
It's got to go half full right now, man. You know, they were really trying to keep that 11 a.m. morning slate as a good game.
Hey,
so
no doubt.
Glass half
Hey,
full.
last 11 a.m. game was Mississippi State. We played really well on the road. So let's just think that's going to happen. Saints.
They look good
for 2.5 quarters. For 2 quarters until Derek Carr got hurt, and then they forgot the game was going on.
They forgot
apparently.
to finish.
They forgot to finish the game. Up 17-0 in the fourth quarter. Up 17-3 with 8 minutes left. They go ahead and they lose the game 18-17. Missed a field goal at the end of the game. Not great. Not good. I was more upset about that game, about that Saints loss, than I have been for a Saints game in a long time. And I don't like that. Alvin Kamara comes back this week. Derek Carr is day-to-day with a shoulder sprain. Didn't look like he was in too much pain at the time. It hurt when it happened. Then you saw him walk off the field. So hopefully he has a quick recovery because he obviously is much needed on this offense. And it seemed like they were starting to catch stride. We're going to talk more about the Saints at 6:45 with our friend Fletcher Mackel, who is going to give us all the info on New Orleans. The rest of the college football slate this past weekend was pretty good. You had a bunch of games. You had a bunch of ranked opponents. You had Notre Dame. Everybody thought Notre Dame was going to beat Ohio State. They do not. They should have, I believe. They ended up only having 10 players on the field for 2 plays in a row, lose the game. And, you know, I think a lot of people have watched the Notre Dame team very closely because of the Brian Kelly connection. I think Notre Dame is a good team. I think Marcus Freeman's a really good coach. I think that they made a big mistake, and it was unfortunate loss for them.
It's all Lou Holtz's fault.
Unfortunate for my bank account because I lost that game. Florida State goes ahead and win. It is Monday, though, to wrap up our Heineken headlines, and we are proud to bring back a reoccurring guest, friend of the show, attorney at the Get Gordon Law Firm, football connoisseur, Keith.
This is his after hours job.
Accardo. This is it. Keith, welcome back to the show, dude.
Fired up to be here, brother. Fired up to be here.
He's ready.
I'm ready.
You are ready. Listen, we talked
Strapped
a lot.
up.
We talked a lot.
Legally, he has to wear that.
We talked a lot last week about football. We talked a lot about the defensive side of football. We talked a lot about, hey, what do we want to see defensively? We saw some of those things this past week. I know you would look at the score and you say, oh, well, our defenses didn't play very well. And they didn't as a whole. But the front seven played pretty well. Weeks played really well again.
Absolutely.
Greg Penn played really well. The front four seemed like they were playing pretty solid football.
Yeah.
The secondary kind of got torched a little bit. Not great.
No.
Not great. What did you see this past weekend, from the defense in particular that, one, encouraged you, and two, that you think, okay, we got to figure some of this shit out?
And 3, made you bring your helmet because you might be
And
strapping
three-
up for the
three
secondary out
made
here.
you want to bring your helmet and say, listen, you know what? I think I could do a pretty good job, whether on special teams or punt block.
Hell, you might be younger. You might be younger than Andre Sam.
No doubt. No doubt.
I'll find a way to make a play out there.
Of course
you
you
know?
will. Of course you will.
No, some of the things that, I didn't like were obviously in the defensive backfield. It's a reoccurring thing. We've got guys there that are in position to make plays, and they're just not finishing. And that's really not something we're used to at LSU, particularly with the DBs. Yeah. That's been frustrating. We've got some missed tackles,
Missed assignments.
and that goes back to the miscommunication thing that we talked about the past couple weeks. Almost like a lack of ball skills when we've got
Definitely
the
lack of
chance to
ball
make the
skills.
play. That's been pretty frustrating. You know what? On a positive note, I think the inside backers are playing real well. Weeks looked great again. I think Greg Penn looked good.
You think Space got Wally pipped? He's getting Wally pipped right now?
I think so.
It looks like it, doesn't it?
It looks like it.
If you don't know who Wally Pipp is, Wally Pipp was a baseball player, Major League Baseball, back in the day. He was a starter for, do you even know what team, Lloyd?
The Yankees.
He was a starter for the New York Yankees.
Good player, too.
Yeah, great player.
No slouch.
Nope. He decided that he needed a couple days off. So he took the day off. Who took his place?
That'd be one Lou Gehrig.
Yeah. I don't know if you've heard of him.
The Iron Man.
Yeah. Pretty good player. The Iron Man. Well,
He got Wally pipped.
yeah, he got Wally Pipp. Lou Gehrig, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest players of all time.
I
in
consider
Major League
myself
Baseball.
to be the luckiest man in the world.
Lou Gehrig's disease, obviously. It's what he had, so it was named after. But he is on the Wall of Honor, the Ring of, it's not the Ring of Honor, but it's
Circle of Honor or whatever.
Yeah, his numbers retired, his jersey
Where the
retired.
bodies are buried.
Yeah. Wally Pipp decided he wanted a day off. Wally Pipp was playing well. Took the day off. Lou Gehrig took his position.
Never look back.
Wally Pipp, nobody knows who Wally Pipp is because of that. Because Lou Gehrig took his job and never played again.
And never took a day off after that,
and
because
never
it can
took a day
happen
off.
to
So,
anybody.
Ain't happened to me this time. And so my whole thing is, now I say, you got Wally Pipp. To say, this guy got hurt, took a day off, whatever, someone else. You never want to give that opportunity to somebody else if you don't have to. Obviously, Spades got hurt. It's not his fault. But seems like the inside backers are playing well.
That's it. I don't see how you can change anything up back there right now.
Yep. As a defensive back, right? I know you weren't a defensive back. I know you're a linebacker, but
Jason Sehorn.
Jesus.
Jason Sehorn. What?
It's a corner. Oh, Jesus.
Be in trouble.
I didn't say corner.
It was coming out.
I said defensive back.
You didn't finish it.
Definitely wasn't a cornerback.
Definitely not. Linebacker.
Line me up over there, coach.
Hot right now.
As a DB, right? Like, how do you fix that? What do you see? Like, what's the difference? Like, what is the fix to have these guys either, one, develop the ball skills, or two, put them in a position to make these plays when necessary?
Yeah, I mean, one thing is the communication, and that's something that comes over time. These guys are obviously, most of your defensive backs are new playing at LSU, except your corners at least, and they've got to be able to communicate with the safeties and really everybody else on the field. That I think is something that is a lot easier to work on than your ball skills. Ball skills, that's a natural thing.
Yeah, right.
That's something that, you can obviously work on at practice every day.
By yourself.
Yeah, I mean, however you got to do it. But, that's much more difficult to do than work on the communication and things like that.
Part of the secondary that, there wasn't a lot of great things, but there's one guy who stood out to me that last couple games.
For 2 weeks in a row.
He's a human missile, and that's Andre Sam. He's been in college football for a little while. He transferred in. He is a human missile. He goes 1,000,000 miles an hour. He made an interception, made some good plays. Look, he may make a couple mistakes. He's not going to be perfect. But he goes out, and you know what you're going to get, and he's going to go out there and make some big plays.
Yeah.
He has done that. That's got to be pretty encouraging to see. At least one guy in the secondary.
Right.
There's another guy in the secondary that I want to talk to you about after you give him his flowers. There's a play that in particular that happened that you sent me a screenshot of the. Of the breakdown, and we're going to get into that. But Andre Sam, talk about him. To me, he's like the one bright spot in the secondary.
Right, he definitely is. I mean, you got to love the way that he's playing. He flies around the football field. I mean, yeah, he's going to make a couple mistakes, and you know he missed a couple tackles in terms of getting shook and things like that. But he's 1,000 miles an hour every play, and you got to love.
That's all you can ask for,
right?
That's all you can.
He's going to take some chances, and he may get beat here and there, but he's going to make some big plays for you, like we saw.
And he may get beat. I don't think he's going to get beat the way Major Burns did. I'm not saying Major Burns is not a bad player. He's a good player.
Yeah.
Major Burns had an open field tackle open field opportunity against KJ Jefferson, and he went to make the tackle, but the problem was that KJ was 10 yards the other way.
Yeah.
And completely whiffed him, right? Can you show me what he did wrong and what he should have done? How would you break down an open field tackle?
All right, we can make this happen.
Here we go. Here we go.
So look, when you go back to that play, I mean, this is going back to 6-year-old football, right?
You should squat down for me a little bit.
Well, you got to squat. You got to squat.
Yeah, get that. Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't hit what you can't see. Major Burns is going in to make the play, and he's staring at the ground.
Arm out, though, just in case you can catch him.
Just in case, staring at the ground. If you're going to hit somebody like KJ, you better be looking at who you're going to hit. Okay? You need to be face forward, get down in that position, and form him up.
And come up. And even if you just make him move or kind of make him slow down, it's a win, right?
If he gets a hand on him right there, we've got the rest of the team coming to make a play. Because the defense has done a good job of running to the guy with the football. But if you just whiff, you're not slowing him
And
down.
show me how, like, how did he approach him when he went the head down?
You got to come through it, right?
It was rough. It was rough. I watched him play like 5 times and cringed the whole day.
You got to keep the head up. Can't hit what you can't see. That's cardinal rule. I mean, that is the first rule in defense. Like, hey, make sure you see where you're at and also protects the neck. I know he's got the cowboy collar. You know about that, right? I appreciate the demonstration. Yes. You have the cowboy collar. You know how that works, right? But you got to keep the head up, and it's going to protect the neck, 1, and 2, you're not going to whiff, right? So I appreciate the demonstration. I appreciate the education. We are going to get more education, Lloyd in particular, because here's the deal.
Call heads up football.
Heads up football. There you go.
Roger Goodell.
There you go. Heads up the shield. We have the privilege of being around you every Monday, right? We're starting to get closer. We understand how we like to talk football. You're getting comfortable. We're getting comfortable. Gordon has asked you to do this. 1, because he trusts that you're going to give good information about the law. And 2, because you understand football and you like talking about football. And so we've been educated the last few weeks on different laws, different things that will help you. The last 2 weeks has been insurance-wise, right?
Right.
We have no pay, no play, which is to help with uninsured or underinsured motorists.
Yep.
Right? And then the last week we had
It was a differentiating between UM and economic only.
and economic only. So this week we're going to kind of pivot a little bit, not necessarily on insurance, but, listen, if you watched The Last Dance on ESPN, Michael Jordan had the flu game, right? It really wasn't the flu game. It was more food poisoning because he ate the pizza. He shouldn't have ate the pizza, but he ate the pizza, right? And he was sick. He ended up having a great game. But apparently you were telling us, and Lloyd's eyes lit up a lot when you said this, because Lloyd has canceled our show a couple times or been late to the show. Never really canceled. Lloyd is a trooper. He doesn't cancel.
I don't get
Been
Wally
late a
pipped
couple
around
times,
here.
Thrown up on the show a couple times because of some things that he said it was food poisoning. But apparently Lloyd could have made some money off of food poisoning. How does that work?
Well, first thing that Lloyd's got to do is call us.
There you
Get
go.
Gordon.
Get
What's
Gordon.
that number?
888-8888. Yes,
Hard to
indeed.
remember, I know.
Yeah, so in Louisiana, in order to succeed or prevail on a food poisoning claim, you've got to prove 2 things, 2 essential things. 1, that the dangerous condition existed in the food or the product at the time it was purchased, okay? And then 2, you've got to be able to prove that there's a causal relationship
Lloyd, you taking notes?
Yeah, I am actually.
Okay.
between the food consumption and the injury or the illness.
Right.
Okay. And the easiest way to do this is once you get sick and you believe that it's from some type of food or product that you consumed, you need to go to the doctor, right? And you get that medical documentation showing that
It was food poisoning.
that this is food poisoning.
You
that's
have E.
caused you
coli
to be
in your
sick.
system.
And that's really the essential things that you need to do in order to prove this food poisoning claim.
Okay, so let's say you prove it, right? Let's say you go to the doctor, you get it, you prove it. What are the next steps that you have to do?
Yeah,
Does
so
it
then-
matter if there's anything else in your system at this time? Is it like a toxicology report, or is it just strictly food-based?
Yeah, so the toxicology report and things like that, I'm sure if you have to do all that, it's going to show up in your medical records. So
I'm just saying, if it gets me in trouble.
That would probably cause some issues. In
little red
proving
tape.
it. It would definitely wouldn't help the case. But you never know. Every circumstance is different,
There you go.
right? So we.
Depends on what state you're in.
I don't think that's true at all.
But so once you go to the doctor, call us and we start pushing everything else for you. We get in touch with whoever we feel may be the responsible party, and then we'll work all that out.
Now, some people may be listening and saying, oh, food poisoning, like that's not like, there's no way. Is that something that you have
Experience?
experienced? Not you personally have experienced food poisoning, but had a case like this, or know somebody in the law firm that has had a case like this?
Yeah, we've had quite a few calls recently come in for this.
Okay.
It's something that we handle.
It's a new epidemic. Food poisoning. I've
It happens,
I've had food poisoning before.
and it's miserable. There is
It is
nothing
not,
fun
it is
about
not,
it.
it is not good.
Every Sunday I wake up with food poisoning.
I think your food poisoning
Consumption, but I'm not exactly sure it's food.
I think your definition of food poisoning and the law's definition of food
Yeah.
poisoning may be a little different.
We're going to find out.
We are going to find out.
It's a liquid diet.
You probably should figure that out before you pay the money for the attorney.
Consultation fee is
liquid
free.
meat
Well, actually,
into the
it's
word,
free.
too.
Remember, we
Right?
Yeah.
We don't get paid unless you get paid.
don't get paid unless you do.
Well, I think I took that from somebody else. I don't know. That's the rule. Yeah.
That's the rule.
That's the rule.
It's
right?
a contingency fee
Yeah,
contract.
right. That's the rule. Food poisoning. Who would have known?
Because there is some establishments around here that do a buy one get three free on some chicken breast that I buy all the time, and I've been getting worked over it because
Just on Sundays, too, right?
but I really
Weird.
did.
That's
Weird.
weird.
So if it's buy one get three free, they said it's probably a little old, but I still ride it out. I just put it in the freezer. That feels safe. So I feel like I'm in the
think by
clear
the
there.
time
But if
they're
there's
already
anybody,
free, you're
yeah.
past the, let me put it in the freezer.
But they're trying.
Yeah.
I think that
You
if
can put it in
anybody's
the
gonna
freezer.
get it, it's gonna be
You
me.
can put it in the fridge. Well, you haven't yet. Your immune system's.
Well, now that I know
A+.
I can make a little scratch off of it, try water.
I'm sure after eating that over and over and over again, your immune system's got
You seem like a big chicken and rice guy
built
with
up a
me.
little bit.
It'll be okay.
Basically, don't ever call and tell us you can't make it because you're sick.
I'm outing myself.
Yeah, you just added everything you said, so you're always showing up.
I'm gonna be at Gordon's office.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the info. Before I let you go, right? We're going to flip it right back to football, right? We talked about what we saw this past weekend. Talked about defensive secondary. Obviously, offense was great. Second half especially was great. They go to Ole Miss. They're going to play a potent offense.
Absolutely.
They're going to play a coach who's known for his offensive creativity. You're going to play an experienced quarterback who's put up some really good numbers. And you're going to have a running back who was the best running back in the SEC last year.
Yeah.
So you're going to have they're going to have their challenge. What do you need to see, or what do you want to see from this defense going into next week to say, okay, listen, this is what they need to do to be able to contain that offense?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things that they're going to need to do, in my personal opinion, is don't get rattled if Ole Miss comes out and jumps up on top of us. Because we know Lane scripts that first series, and they score a lot doing that.
Well, I don't think a lot of people realize that. They should. But, they come down, they drove down the field on us. We're like, hey, listen, the 15 plays that they just ran, or that they ran, those are the perfect 15. They've run those every day for the last week.
Right.
You know what they're coming. Like, they scripted. It's a little bit easier. They're going to run those sharper than the other ones.
They
That's
broke
what happens.
down your film.
Yeah. Hey,
thinking
these
that-
15 are going to be good.
Some people usually, some people do it differently, but it's mainly to break you down. Like these
Right.
are, I need to either know how you're going to defend this or I know these will hit.
No doubt.
Yeah.
That's pretty much
No
what
doubt.
you're getting.
Now, that's what happens after that.
Right. And I think as long as you don't get totally shaken up if they punch you in the mouth first here, we're going to be okay. Like we said, we need to clean things up in the defensive backfield, and I think we've got the guys that can do it. It just needs to happen.
Yep.
Front seven, they need to keep doing their thing.
Keep Jackson Dart maybe contained a little
Right.
bit. He's going to try to run. Obviously, we talked about spies.
Yeah, I'd like to see Perkins get let off his leash a little more. I mean, you've got one of the most dangerous defensive weapons in the SEC. It's time to let him really eat.
No doubt. And you maybe spy him, like you said, spy him somewhere else. Maybe have a defensive end. Maybe have somebody else contain. There's a ways to keep the quarterback contained without having a guy just spying him the whole time. And look, Brian Kelly knows this. Defensive coordinator knows this. Like, they're not dumb. They're way smarter than I am on the football side of the ball. So, I think they're going to figure it out. Now, the more pressure you put on the quarterback, the better, the more help you give to the secondary. So, I'm with you. I think that's it. I think the secondary is fixable. The issues are fixable. I think what you're seeing, the progression in the front seven is very encouraging. I think if they continue to get better and they continue to bring more pressure on the quarterback, I think that's going to help the secondary.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, as always, every Monday. If you're looking for some law help and you need some education.
No Saints talk?
Oh, yeah. That's right. I mean,
he's got to go back to New Orleans.
Yeah, he does have to go back to New Orleans. They poke the bear a little bit.
We can't let him get out here without Saints talk.
Listen. What the fuck?
That was a tough one to swallow.
What happened?
That's a tough one to swallow.
For 57 minutes, I felt like we were watching a 3-0 team.
And you shit the bed at the last in those last couple
Food
minutes.
poisoning.
I have a question, though. I think the kicker that we have is good. I think he's going to be great.
Yeah.
Did anybody here on the show right now, did anybody think that he was going to make the kick? Whenever he lined up for the kick, I didn't have a good feeling in my head. I was like, he's not, and not because it's him, it's just the way the game was going. I was like, there's no way he makes this kick.
Way the game was going, he's never been in that situation really before. I mean, he had the preseason situation that he was in, but that's obviously a totally different.
That's kind of what gets me more than anything. You would like for those guys that don't have that kind of experience to be kicking in not that kind of experience type of situations that early.
Right.
Like, let's get some wins under your belt where you keep kicking in non-pressure situations, and then we can kind of move you into those. Not necessarily in week 3 for a win.
No doubt.
That was definitely not the place that I thought we were going to be in at that point.
Well, the game was on the road, so you weren't.
I wasn't there.
Obviously. Duh. As always, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time on this Monday. Before we let you go again, remind everybody about what we talked about today. Give them a little bit give them the Cliff Notes.
Food poisoning. We've got a couple things that we need to prove. We've got to prove that the dangerous condition existed when the food was bought, and we've got to prove that there's a relationship between the consumption of the food and the illness or injury. Remember, if you think you've got food poisoning, you need to go to the doctor. Let's get it confirmed, have it medically documented.
And once you do that, call Keith Ricardo at Get Gordon, 888-888-8888.
That's way too many 8s.
7-8.
Just keep typing 8. Just keep typing 8 until they don't let you type it anymore.
Right. Keep typing 8 until it starts ringing.
Yes, indeed.
And that'll help your food poisoning case.
I need to talk to Keith Ricardo, who I saw on Mik'd Up with the helmet on. I think I got food poisoning. I can prove it. And go.
Or just say, I need to talk to Keith Ricardo, who I saw on Perkins Drive with the helmet on, because he's driving home in it. And just don't let y'all know.
That's it.
That's right.
Oh, man. Keith, I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
We'll have you back on next Monday, hopefully after an LSU and a Saints victory. And we can
indeed.
talk about how great everybody played.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you, dude.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Have a good one.
Y'all too.
Please,
Love the helmet.
Please drive home like that.
Next week we're going to add to the uni.
All right, let's do it.
We're going to add to the uni.
Full regalia.
Maybe get a little visor on there. Some armbands, maybe arm
As
sleeves.
wins go, accessories go. Let's go. Let's do it.
Swag it up a bit. Yeah.
Get the cowboy collar.
Swag it up a bit. All white. Gordon, you knew would be sick. Sick for him.
Appreciate you, man.
Who would have known? Food poisoning, you can make some money off of it.
That sounds like a racket that I'm trying to get into.
Well, that feels like it's right up
I
your
feel
alley.
like that might be Lloyd's next play.
I was just trying to get out of work, but it turns out I can get paid.
Next money-making scheme.
Uh-huh.
That's it.
That's what it sounds like to me.
All right, so obviously he's a defensive guy. I want to talk a little bit about the defense with him before he got off the show. What I do want to talk about, though, is the game as a whole this past weekend, right? I was at the game. We're all watching the game. We're all paying attention. We're texting. We're going through what we saw, what we didn't see. And I'm going to be honest with you. The first half was not great. Not good. I mean, offense wasn't playing great. Jayden Daniels wasn't playing great. He came out a little sloppy, came out a little bit. Didn't seem like he was completely locked in. Seemed like he was making some lazy throws, lazy. I'm not saying this as an indictment on him. It was just the way it came out. He was 7 of 14 in the first half. He threw an interception where it felt like he got duped by McLaughlin, who was a transfer from LSU. Felt like he thought it was man coverage. It was not. McLaughlin cut off the out route and picked it off. And you could tell as he's throwing it, I said, oh, no. He's about to pick it off. And he did. Yeah. Right? Threw it right to him.
Yeah.
And it just didn't seem like he was making bad throws, throwing balls in the dirt, coming up short. It just seemed like something was a little off. LSU comes down. They're down 13-3. Right before half, LSU scores a touchdown to make it 13-10. That was a huge momentum shift into the game. And you flip it into the second half, and Jayden Daniels did what everybody has expected him to do through the course of the year. What he's done for the last 2 weeks, he dominated the game. He ended the game 15 of 17, really, or the second half, he was 15 of 17, really 15 of 16. The 17th, the second incompletion he threw was literally just to throw the ball away and kill time. Yeah. Right? And he goes out there, throws for, 250 and 4 touchdowns in the second half or something crazy like that. Into the game, 20 of 29, 320 yards and 4 touchdowns. You had both starting receivers have over 100 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. The last time that happened was against Texas. Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson both went over 100, right? You had Logan Diggs almost get to 100 yards. He had 97 yards rushing. We talked about going into the weekend, what did you want to see? Well, I wanted to see another receiver step up. Brian Thomas did that, had 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. Malik's going to get his. We already knew that, right? You wanted to see Jay. You wanted to see Malik do it again, and he did it, right? I wanted to see the running back position have more yards and more attempts than the quarterback position. That happened, right? Logan Diggs himself had 14 carries for 97 yards. Jayden Daniels had 10 for 36. That, to me, is a good mix. I'd like to see the running backs do that, right?
Even on the season, too, by the way, his running back numbers ain't looking too running back-ish. Those numbers are looking like a quarterback.
Right, and that's what you want to see.
Yeah.
You want him to run when he has to run, not because he needs to run, not because that's his escape route. Like, it's his escape route when it's last resort, right? You don't want it to be, I'm going to get out of the pocket early on and not go through my progressions. I think you're seeing that. You're seeing him make that change.
Yeah.
The game, look, there wasn't as pretty as we wanted it to be. LSU ends up with the win. We told you it was going to be a tight game. The last 4 games against Arkansas have been decided by 3 points. So you kind of understood what it was going to be. They ultimately won the game and kept the boot here and did the things necessary to come out with a victory. And so to me, that's a huge thing. Obviously, the defense is still a question mark, but go ahead. What did you see, Jay?
Between us, as a competitor, if I'm on the field, I'm trying to, like, if I'm beating you by 2 possessions, by 2 touchdowns, I'm whooping your ass, right? Yep. Like, as a competitor. But if I'm on the losing side of it, or if I'm on the spectator side of it, you're still in the game, right? You score, you get a stop, you get a score, you get 1 turnover, you get another stop. Like, the game's completely different. So the first half didn't bother me stuff like that will never bother me, right? You're still within reach. I don't care how bad it looks. I will never sit here and say somebody that's given us a chance, doesn't matter how bad you play in the first half, is quote unquote what can lose you a game, right? You turn it on, you get stops in the second half, you start playing better in the second half, you give yourself a chance.
I'd rather the bad first half, great second half than great first half, terrible
100% agree. Because at the end of the day, like, if anybody knows anything about sports, like, finishing a game, finishing a season is what's most important. So I don't care if you come out the blocks hot. If you can't finish the race, you didn't win the race, right? I don't care if you come out the blocks slow. If you can't finish the race, you don't win the race. So I don't really care what happens in the first half. Yeah, it was shaky, but you're still within a punch. You're still in a puncher's chance. You still had a chance to get it.
Defense played better in the first half than in the first half.
So they turned it on and got everything going in the second half, and that was really, really, really inspiring to kind of see that come together. Defense-wise, look, if I'm being completely honest, right? Like,
yeah, be honest.
I would love to see a secondary full of ball hawks and guys with extreme ball skills. But those are in the guys that end up going third, first, second-round guys all the time, right? Like, that's a rare thing at that position, right?
Now, the problem is everybody got spoiled with that here in Baton Rouge.
Because we're used to seeing it, right?
Right.
Here's the problem, right? I would love for you to have ball skills. What I'm not seeing, though, even on plays when I feel like they are playing technique-wise correctly, when they are seeming like they're in position, we can't break up passes even in those situations. Like, the ability to actually play through someone's hands, to be able to take the ball away, those ain't even happening. And that's what's really, really, really alarming. And that's going all the way back to game one. Now, look, don't get me wrong, those two dudes you faced in game one, those are two monsters. Right?
I mean,
those
have
are
you
two
seen the numbers
dudes.
what Keon Coleman's doing the rest of the year?
They're still doing it. Yeah, like 4 weeks later, they're still doing it. Like, those are two dudes. But even when I'm seeing our defensive guys, our defensive backs, really, in position, we're still not finishing those plays. And that is the part that scares me because, like I said, I would love to see you with ball skills. Yes, that's as good as it gets, right? But if I don't have ball skills out of you, I got to be able to get you to start playing through hands. And I haven't been able to see them break up enough passes by being able to do that, and that's the part that scares me.
And here's some stats I'm gonna say I'm gonna mention on the defense. Right?
They're not positive, Bob.
Not great.
Not good.
As a defense, right? What makes you successful? Getting off the field on third downs, creating negative plays for the offense, and turning the ball over. Okay? Those are three of the big benchmarks. Like, you can look.
And if you do one of the three.
Yeah, I've always said this. Honestly, you can give up yards from 20 to 20. But what you do inside the 20s makes a big difference, right? Like, you can give up those yards until they get to the red zone. But if you're stopping them and they're not scoring touchdowns and you're giving up field goals, or if they're deep in their own territory and you're able to keep them and not allow them to get field position, that's positive, right? LSU's defense, they're allowing the opposing team to convert 44% on third down. That's not great. That is 104th nationally. 104th. There's not that many.
What, 120?
I think there's 140 however many teams in Division I. Not great. Okay? They are ranked 85th in the country in tackles for a loss. That's negative plays. Also, not great. The defensive line has 9 sacks on the year, which is 10th best in the SEC. Now, listen, they're getting more pressure than the actual sacks, but they're not actually getting the sacks. Our defense is ranked 75th in forced turnovers. So not one of those are you ranked in the top 50 in the country. That's tough. That puts a lot of pressure on the defense because that's one, they're on the field for a lot longer because teams are converting third downs. You're not having sudden change and giving momentum back to the offense by getting turnovers. And you're not putting these guys in position where you can pin your ears back and go and get them. Because they're averaging 4.5 yards a carry, basically. 4.36 yards a carry. So now there's nothing that you're doing to keeping them behind the chains. And then when you do get to a 2nd and 25, like you had against Arkansas, you allow a 20-yard run to make a 3rd and 5, and then there's a busted coverage for a 60-yard touchdown. And so those are the things that are demoralizing to a team, right? Here's the deal. That doesn't happen. You now have the ability to go up by two touchdowns because the offense was unstoppable in the second half. And so to me, like, those are alarming stats. Now let's flip it. Everybody wants to talk about the offense. Everybody wants to talk about our quarterback. I hope that the last couple of games have said, okay, hey.
That's dead. So it's dead.
Right?
I don't want to hear it anymore. It's dead.
I mean,
it's dead. That conversation is dead.
It has to be, right? I don't care how bad.
I don't care if he doesn't complete a pass in the first half next game. That conversation is dead. I don't want to hear it anymore.
I agree. So let me finish these numbers. Points per game. 42.75 points per game. They're first in the SEC. I don't even talk about that stat because, look, we played Graham when he scored 70 points. Okay, fine. Well, take that. Let's not even talk about that stat. They have a total offense. They ranked 100. They ranked first in the SEC in total offense, first in the SEC in yards per game, third in pass yards, second in pass yards per game, third in rush yards per game, third in yards per carry. They're top 5. They're really top 2 in really top 3 in every statistical category that you can think of offensively. Offense ain't the issue. It's the defense right now that's the issue.
And it's to the point now where it's seemingly it feels like we're gonna have not one of those absolutely just shut down, stifling defenses. It seems like we'll have one of those defenses that's gonna have to be bend but don't break. So now it's gonna come to, can you get off the field on third downs, right? And that's, for me, when it comes to improvement, when it comes to being better in the next game, that's what I'm looking for is, can they start finding ways to get off the field on third down? Because I don't think we are, especially at this moment, good enough to absolutely shut you down on first, put you on second and long, and put you in third and predictable. So can you get off the field on third downs? And that's going to kind of give your offense a chance to even roll more and kind of be, I guess, an offense on the offensive, if that makes any sense, as opposed to kind of trying to have to play to put your defense in a good spot, if that makes any sense.
And it seems like that's what the LSU is kind of built to do. If obviously we know the deficiencies on the back end. Like you can see he's playing.
The all whites are crispy.
All
right, go ahead.
Yes, I mean Burrow is.
So are the Saints all whites, by the way.
I know that's a game you'd love to win in the all whites in Lambeau. It's just a perfect setting.
Go ahead.
It's okay. It's a good mushroom game. Whenever you have the Saints defensive, like the way the LSU, the way that their defense is set up, obviously the back end is where they struggle, right? Like I think that's fair to say at this point. If you want to, like you said, you could play football however you like between the 20s, but when you get in the red zone, LSU was set up to be able to stop you there.
And that was one positive they had this past week.
That if Major Burns doesn't make that tackle at the one,
Yes.
it might be a different football game.
Great tackle.
Because it helped, but they held him to a field goal. They did that multiple times where they held Arkansas to field goals.
5 red zone. At one point in the game, I don't know if
that's a lot.
There's 5 red zone
not
appearances,
great.
Only 2 touchdowns though.
But
that's great.
And Matt House did the same thing last year. Whenever it got down to being within the red zone, or kind of when it gets scrunched up, it gets tough to score against that defense because you have Harold Perkins flying around. Right. Now you have Weeks flying around.
Well, and also you don't have
all the space. You can't
have a lot
fuck
of
it up
space
that
for the
much.
cornerbacks to get beat deep.
Right.
You have it's more condensed. That's why it's so much harder to score in the red zone because it's such a smaller spot.
Right.
And now you're seeing Jordan Jefferson come in, and you're starting to see, like, Mason Smith is still hurt. He's playing through whatever it is it's going to take him to get back. But you can see he's just not in great shape. The ankle injury was tough.
Womack's becoming a player.
He played 5 snaps with 3 pressures, and coach still does. Brian Kelly is still trying to have a hard time of figuring a way out to not put him on the field.
I say he's becoming a problem.
Yeah.
Really
he's doing what Perkins did last year.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, you can get after the quarterback really well. We're going to do that, and we're going to see how good you can do it.
And that's what I think Brian Kelly's trying to say without telling everyone is, look, he's good at – right now he's good at one thing. We're going to put him in that situation to where, of course, he's going to have 3 pressures and 5 snaps. They're all pressure leverage situations where you're here to rush the passer.
He's coming in fresh as can be, too,
right.
And it's literally ears pinned back and go see it. If he's that good at it, he's probably going to get home or close to home.
And it gives him confidence. Like I understand what Brian Kelly's trying to say, but – because the fan base is breathing down his neck about Deshaun Womack. This is the 3rd game in a row where you've seen him kind of make an impact, whether it was on special teams the first time, getting to the quarterback, and now getting to the quarterback without his helmet on. But I understand he's kind of bringing him along slowly because he wants him to be in situations where he can succeed. And that makes sense. But
and that's a sign of a good coach,
yes,
to be honest with you.
It's okay. I'd like to see him play more. I think everybody would. But I understand what he's doing. Like you said, did the same thing with Perk, and his big game was against whom? Ole Miss. Whenever Lane Kiffin goes – I mean, what changed? He's like, well, they put 40 out there whenever he was 40. He's like, that. I didn't know that they had that.
Yeah.
It kind of took him by surprise. Womack could be that guy for Ole Miss this year.
Yeah.
When that game where it's like, oh, they got guys that pressure everywhere. But I think the addition of obviously Mekhi Wingo has been as steady as he can be. He's a player.
Yep.
And if you can get Mason Smith somewhat healthy,
he's starting to. You can tell he's starting to have his moments.
But the best thing about this is you can bring him along slowly because Jordan Jefferson is coming in and disrupting. He goes effort plays. Like you have depth on the defensive line to where you can afford to bring Mason Smith along slowly. I say all that to say if LSU can avoid the explosive play from just scoring, if you can get it within the 20s and only hold them to a field goal, LSU has a real shot to win every game they play.
No doubt.
No doubt.
The only thing that
As
bothers,
bad as the defense is,
no,
'cause
they
it's
do.
bad.
No, they do. But the only problem that bothers me, and that's why I talked about the defense of being able to actually, if we're not going to sit up there and be a stifling defense, being able to play through hands is so important.
Yes.
To me, as opposed to having ball skills. Because, listen, let's call a spade a spade. Like, we didn't play 2019 LSU Tigers on Saturday. I'm not saying Arkansas is bad, but we did play an Arkansas offense on Saturday, right? If you play a prolific offense and you don't come out gunning on offense, right, meaning us, that 13-3 now is 28-3.
Yep.
And then it's now how do you mount a comeback? That's what's tough.
Yep.
And so that's the situation I don't want this offense to have to get into because it plays outside of what they're really good at, right? Like they're going to want to keep running the ball. They're going to take their shots, but you can't. We're not that type of offense that's going to spread you out and throw it 70 times a game and throw for 500 and put up 60. Like that's just not that kind of offense, right? And so you don't want to, as we get into the schedule, as you play teams that are more efficient, that are more explosive on offense, get into a situation where you're down 28-3 just because we literally can't finish a play.
Right,
on
and
defense.
I will say this,
And Ole Miss can do that to you.
Who?
Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm going to say this. Listen, Arkansas may not be the most prolific offense. I 100% agree with that. Offensive line's been struggles. But the guy under center, right, the quarterback position in football is the most important position. If you have a good quarterback, you can mask a lot of issues because of the guy, he can figure some stuff out.
Is it safe to say LSU has a good quarterback?
Yeah, but I'm not going that way. KJ Jefferson, I would argue that KJ Jefferson is probably the top 2-3 quarterbacks. LSU's top 2 quarterback in the SEC that LSU is going to face this year. Jackson Dart, I think, is better than him, but KJ Jefferson is experienced. He's talented, and he has the ability to do what he did last week,
Hey,
and I think that helps.
I'll put it like this. I had a conversation Saturday during the game with someone that's close to the show, and we got to talking about how I want to say before games ended on Saturday, the Pac-10 had the most amount of
Pac-12.
Pac-12.
Pac-4.
Pac-4. Pac-2.
Pac-2.
Pac-West. How they had the most amount
Pac-Sun.
of
That's about how many people they got in there.
how they had the most amount of ranked teams at the time, right? And I'm like, okay, well, let's go through the teams they got over there. We got Colorado to start, right? His first year in FBS, but this is his third year as a starting quarterback, and he's pretty damn good, right? I go, you got Oregon State. That guy's been in college for 5 years. DJ.
I know. I thought you were going to try to get his last name.
No, I'm not going that far.
Okay.
DJU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
that
yeah,
guy.
I mean.
Yeah. The 3-letter guy. You got him. He's been in college for like 5 years. You go to the guy at Washington State. He's been in college since I was in high school. Like he's been there forever, and he's good, right? You go to USC.
Michael Penix.
This is what his third year starting, and he's
Heisman Trophy.
coming off a Heisman Trophy. I go, bro. They're all experienced. You go to Oregon, you got him. He was a quarterback. He was playing games against Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
While Justin Herbert was a quarterback at Oregon.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert's been in the league for 4 years now. He is the quarterback at Oregon now.
Yeah.
Right?
6
I was
years.
like, that's what you have over there. So what is that? What am I telling you? Experience at the quarterback position is paying off for quote unquote good teams, right? Who has it in this league? LSU. You talked about an offense that's not super prolific, but the quarterback that played well made them better.
KJ Jefferson.
Arkansas, right? Like that shit matters.
Yep.
And you saw it matter when they came here Saturday.
And you're going to have another one this next Saturday in Ole Miss and Jackson Dart. We're going to get back to the LSU conversation. Don't want to have our next guest waiting for too long. We haven't touched too much on the Saints yet.
Ooh.
We talked about what happened.
Ooh.
Not great.
Ooh.
Bob, not great.
I just don't know why y'all do that to yourselves.
A lot of questions to be answered, a lot of questions to be asked. I don't have the answers. Our next guest, Fletcher Mackel, does have the answers because he is the guy that is New Orleans. He knows Saints. He knows Pelicans. He knows all New Orleans sports. He comes on our show. He's a friend of ours. Fletcher, we appreciate you coming on. Whoa.
Oh, my bad.
Okay.
I wanted to give him his theme music.
Yeah, that's it.
Play my music.
Yeah. Fletcher Mackel, appreciate you coming back on the show. Please explain to me what the hell happened on Sunday. Me and you were texting a little bit. To me, that was one of the harder losses that I've seen from the Saints in a little while.
So let me ask you this. You said theme music. Do I get like the theme from like Fletch, like Chevy Chase or something like that?
Is that what you want? Whatever you
can make that happen.
Is that what you want? We can make whatever you want happen.
I don't know. That made me feel like so special. I heard theme music. I thought, what the hell? It's like, this may be like a new concept. I may have to go tell my boss here. Dude, like Mikie Mahtook and the guys gave me theme music. What the hell?
Hey, we've had walkout songs. We can have a walkout song for you come into the game.
That's true. No, so here's the thing. To me, like, I don't know what the hell happened in that game. Last year, everybody dumped on Pete Carmichael, if you remember. The Saints were like in second and long every time, and he just kept running the ball because he didn't trust a quarterback to throw. Well, in this game, this is when you should be running the ball. You're up 17 with like 11 minutes to go.
And your backup
I don't know why they just didn't put Taysom Hill back there and just run quarterback sneaks and wildcat. You'd have just run the clock out. I just couldn't believe that they just kept letting Jameis throw, and all they're doing is just giving the Packers more time. I mean, I just kept thinking, what am I watching here? Like, I understand the concept of we play to win, we believe in Jameis, we got electric playmakers, but at a certain point, you're gonna win. Right. Your quarterback is out. Just keep away from them for like 10 minutes.
With a defense, with a defense that's really good.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest. Like, let's tell the truth. That last part, man. Even if we watched that happen with Drew Brees in the height of Drew Brees' career, you'd still be like, why didn't we run the ball? Like, why didn't we just give it to Taysom and run the ball right there?
Right. I mean, my thing is, I just couldn't believe it that I thought, okay, I get it. We're going to be hyper-conservative. We're going to manage the game. And even on the third downs, like, they weren't even trying to get first downs. That 3rd and 9 slant to Michael Thomas, he didn't even get to the markers, right. And Jameis hit him. And so it's like, if you're not going to, like, throw the ball down the field, what are you doing early by passing and not just running and trying to run the clock out? I think Sharif Ishak, who you all know, who I work with here at Channel 6, he put up a stat. They had 30 plays when Carr went out. 21 were passed, 9 were run. It should have been the opposite. It should have been 21 runs trying to just ground it and pound it and just get to the end of the game and sneak away with a victory.
This is all why we're up
Not
17.
giving the Packers all that time to just scratch and claw and get back into the game and put even more pressure on your defense that has carried you to wins this season. And at the end of last season, you know, Rod Walker, who's with the Times-Picayune Advocate newspaper here, this was one of those break-your-brain stats and shows why the Saints haven't been good in the last couple of years. The Saints' defense has now gone 11 games where they've held opponents to 20 or fewer points. That's just unbelievable in today's NFL that is completely geared to offensive players, a pass-happy league that loves scoring. And yet the Saints are only 6-5 in those 11 games. You think that your defense would if your defense does that, you're 9-2. Or at, you know, I mean, you've got this great record if your defense has done that, but the Saints are barely above 500 because their offense has just been so bad in those 11 games.
Part of the
11-0 and unders.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Part of the reason, obviously, this happened is because Derek Carr went out. I thought the offense started to kind of catch their rhythm when he was in the game. It was 17-0. I know they scored. They had a punt return for a touchdown, but it just felt like, okay, there's getting a lot more chemistry. They were running the ball a lot better. Now you get AK back this week. Derek Carr goes out, right? I didn't know what it was. I thought it was going to be a separated shoulder. It is a sprained AC joint. They say he's week to week. What is the feeling like inside of the locker room around the team? What is the prognosis? When is he supposed to come back? When the earliest, latest? And what do you think is going to happen? When do you think he's going to come back?
Look, I'll say this. I've covered this team a long time, for 21 years now. I remember in 2015, Drew Brees suffered a bruised rotator cuff. And it was the first game Drew Brees had ever missed because of injury in his career, because when he suffered the horrific shoulder injury, it was the last game of the 2005 season, and Brees came back in 2006. He never missed a game until 2015. In 2015, he got slammed on his shoulder, same type of situation, Thankfully, no structural damage, no broken collarbone. And at first, it was listed as a 3 to 5 week injury. Brees missed 1 game against the Carolina Panthers, and he came back. Now, I will say this. When he came back, he was a dink and doink kind of guy for a few games, because you could see they probably shot him up, but he didn't have a whole lot of strength in that arm, but he came back. The fact is that Carr has no structural damage. He doesn't have a broken collarbone. It is now a pain threshold management type situation. When does the swelling go down? How much pain can he deal with? Because, I mean, look, they're going to shoot him up on game day. Can he be effective operating the offense? I certainly don't think he's playing this week, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to think that maybe he plays against New England or Houston in those games after Tampa this week, that I could see him back in 2 or 3 weeks, missing 1 or 2 games. That's the indication that I am getting. Now, again, it's all based on his threshold for pain and how quickly he feels like he can operate and throw the ball again. But this is a guy who's been an Ironman. Yeah. In 9 seasons up until this point, he'd only missed 2 games because of injury. So this is a guy who, look, he's not a defensive lineman like Cam Jordan, who's played with a lot of pain. But nonetheless, in today's NFL, he does take hits. And to miss that few games with injury shows that I think he's going to be on the more speedier end of his recovery.
Man, you talked about how unbelievable the defense has been over the last 11 games, right? And I watched this past game, and the defensive effort of one particular player that stuck out so much was unbelievable to me. Out goes Paulson Adebo. Obviously, insert Alontae Taylor, who plays a lot more out instead of out of the slot. Now it goes to the boundary, right? Can you talk about how well he played and if that's going to change anything and how they play those two guys? Because I can't recall the last time I've seen someone thrown at so many times, and time after time after time again, he just kept making plays.
Because they don't even throw at Marshawn anymore. Like, you can't say, he threw at Lattimore and Lattimore breaks it. They don't even throw at him anymore. They just throw at him, and he absolutely dominated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say this, though. The Packers, I'll give Jordan Love and those guys credit. They said they were going to throw at Marshawn. They threw at Marshawn more than any other team had, and actually had a little bit of success doing it. Most teams don't even look the way of Marshawn. He's playing so well. But Alontae Taylor, Paulson Adebo definitely beat him out as the outside corner. And I definitely thought it was great that they decided to move Alontae into the slot, because he had a really productive rookie season, and he's a really good player. And he plays how Dennis Allen wants. Dennis Allen's a former safety. He wants these big, physical, aggressive guys. Marshawn's a longer, lengthier cornerback. Adebo's got length. I mean, Alontae Taylor has length and physicality, and I think we are just scratching the surface of what he is capable of. He had the Saints' only sack yesterday coming in. I mean, when you talk about a guy who just, if you don't even watch football, if you're a baseball guy, you said, damn, who's this number 1?
Right.
This guy's in pass coverage. This guy's getting after the quarterback. That's what I mean. He was a guy that if you don't even know what you're watching, you go, boy, that number 1 seems to be all over the place. So, look, they needed guys to step up. Marcus is going to be out because of his suspension. Paulson Adebo is injured. To me, I thought that this could be a game where Jordan Love really exposed them a little bit and went after a guy like Isaac Yiadom, who doesn't have the same experience as some of these guys. But, I mean, really, to me, because of what Alontae Taylor was capable of doing, this defense is performing at a special level. I get it. The end of the game, the fourth quarter, the offense did them no favors. They broke down a little bit. But even then, I thought they're still a solid group that is capable of carrying this team. And they're going to have to carry them because, not to pivot into another topic, I still don't know what we're going to get from Jameis. There's people out there that love Jameis Winston that think he should be the starter, which I think is crazy. But I just don't know. I mean, I don't know what we're going to get from him. I don't know if we're going to get a game manager. I don't know if we're going to get the turnover machine that threw 3 interceptions against Tampa and gave the game away to them last year. I don't know if we're going to see a heavy dose of Taysom and they're just going to, try to ground it out, so to say. Again, the defense is going to have to continue to be the backbone of this team going forward for the foreseeable future. until Carr gets back. They were the backbone because Carr wasn't exactly lighting the world on fire as one of the top quarterbacks in the league. I think he was getting more comfortable, and they were still figuring some things out. He was going to continue to get better, but they're going to have to lean into this defense even more. And it seems crazy to ask them to continue to carry the torch, but that they're going to have to do it in an even greater way now.
Well, I mean, I think it's obvious they're going to have to continue to carry the torch, but let's be honest, over the past few years, that's sneakily been the best part of the team anyway. Like, let's just tell the truth about it. But I think your segue to it was perfect. You're going to have to enter Jameis for as long as, who knows, until Derek can actually get back in there and tolerate the pain and play through it. But with that being said, you couldn't be bringing back Alvin Kamara at a better time. What should we be expecting to see? Obviously, you have the young rookie there. You're going to have to insert Taysom somehow. Where is his conditioning, and what are we expecting to see out of him? Is he go back to the workhorse kind of thing, or is it going to be kind of by committee, if you will?
No, I would say this. So, look, if you go back to 2019, when Breeze got hurt and hurt his thumb and tore that ligament in his thumb, and they played the 5 games with Teddy Bridgewater, they really overused Peyton. Overused Kamara. I mean, I remember that first game in Seattle. Kamara touched the ball like 30 times because it was, hey, we're gonna go to him, and Teddy's gonna be a game manager. Look, Alvin Kamara in training camp said because of the whole situation in Las Vegas being resolved, he felt like a weight had been lifted off his chest, and he looked like he was in mid-season form from a conditioning standpoint and from just a physicality standpoint. So I think there's no doubt he stayed in shape. He seems rejuvenated now that all of this situation in Vegas is behind him. I think you're going to see him come back and play a huge role. And look, I get it. Kendra Miller's our rookie. Tony Jones did some nice things. Taysom's going to be the gadget guy. I think you will see them force feed the ball to Alvin Kamara in a way like we haven't seen since maybe 2019 when Drew Brees was out for those 5 games and Sean Payton probably overworked him and got him injured at the end of that season. I think they know it's defense and Alvin Kamara at this point. We're not asking Jameis to go throw for 404 touchdowns. Like, that ship sailed a long, long time ago.
Well, it might happen. It just might come with 4 more interceptions too. So like that's the scary part of it.
Right. But that is not what they're going to do. I think it's going to be, we're leaning into Alvin. We're going to dink and dunk to Alvin. We're going to hand off to Alvin. And look, here's the thing. The one big thing that nobody's talking about, because Carr, like, getting hurt was the big story. The Saints blowing that lead was a huge story. The offensive line.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask. That's exactly what I was about to ask.
I mean, just like disappointing beyond words. Like, when you think of this, these guys, Ryan Ramczyk, first-round draft pick on his second contract. Cesar Ruiz, first-round draft pick, just got a big extension. Trevor Penny, first-round draft pick. Andres Pete, first-round draft pick on like his 3rd contract extension. And Eric McCoy was a second-round draft pick, but their first pick in 2019 because they didn't have a number 1, and he's on his 2nd contract. They have invested a ton in those guys, and they stink right now. I mean, Carr, that was his 11th sack.
Yep.
Jameis got sacked afterwards. I mean, this was supposed to be the strength of this team, the defense and this great O-line, and they are just getting worked over. I mean, Cesar Ruiz is getting bull rushed and knocked over by speed linebackers that weigh like 215. It's just, they've been bad.
How do you fix that?
How
do you fix that? What's the fix on that?
I mean, here's the thing. Look, James Hurst, Cesar Ruiz is in concussion protocol. Okay. Nobody that has gone into concussion protocol has played the same week. So I think we're going to see Andres Pete start. Trevor Penning, I would say maybe you could kick Hurst to tackle and put Andres Pete and say that Trevor Penning isn't ready. But you don't have that option right now. So I think it's just going to have to be, they're just going to have to play better. And I know that sounds like that's not an answer, but that is the answer. Like, you all play Major League Baseball. At a certain point, guys just need to play better.
Yeah.
There isn't some like magic hitting coach that's going to show up and tinker with the guy's swing at this point. Like Doug Marrone as the O-line coach, who is a renowned offensive line coach, isn't all of a sudden going to say, let me show you a new technique here. It's just going to have to be, I got to play better and do a better job. And that's just the simplicity of it.
And you talk about simplicity. I'm glad you said that because you bring up the examples of baseball. Sometimes you got to figure it out, right? In sports, sometimes you just got to simplify something or just make it easier to kind of get somebody in a rhythm, right? And the fact that you don't have Derek Carr there and the fact that you're going to lean on the running game a little bit more, you saw progression in the running game this past week. You saw that the holes open up a little bit more. They're able to gain some more yards. Now you have your all-pro running back coming back. Maybe that's what the offensive line needs. Maybe they say, okay, we're going to lean on you. You're going to get a push. You don't have to worry about any pressure, and maybe that's going to get them back into that aggressive mindset. I don't know. I'm hoping. I'm being optimistic, but maybe. I mean, that could happen.
Yeah, and look, and here's the thing. What the offensive line doesn't need is the Jameis Winston that holds the ball for 6 seconds looking to make the hero throw downfield. So, like, that's what they don't need. They need Jameis that wants to, like, just check down to Kamara and get the ball into his hands. And I do think that's the kind of game plan that we'll see is, you know, kind of leaning more into the run game. Trevor Penning excels, is a mauler in the run game. Kamara's back. I think that against Tampa this week, they're going to say, hey, look, we're not going to try to get cute. We're going to try to just win at the line of scrimmage. And Tampa has a good defensive team, but we're going to try to exert our will on them and just run the ball down their throats and check down to Kamara and try to get the ball in his hands. But you're right. At some point, they just have to play better because they have been, to me, more than anything else. We can talk about Groovy missing the kick. We can talk about Derek Carr not having synergy with his receivers, whatever we want to say, the biggest disappointment in 3 games has been the offensive line because there were expectations, and it's a unit that has historically played well. You wonder, how have they been so bad? Because make no mistake, they've been bad. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. All of them. Even Ramczyk, he just doesn't look the same after the knee injury. Before it's like, oh, it's Penny. What about moving Ramczyk? It's like they ain't moving Ramczyk anywhere. Ramczyk's got enough issues on the right side of his own. So, to me, I don't know what to do other than to say,
gotta play
better.
Yeah.
That's always a great answer. Just play better. Just
play
be better.
You don't like it, be better.
Yeah. And for as well as, speaking of playing better, as well as the defense has played, is there not a world where if you have to give an option for Dennis Allen, obviously he's the one that makes the sauce for the defense. Is there a world where he keeps his job and he has to, almost cut Pete Carmichael loose in the offseason where it's, hey, one more year? You see a lot of coaches do that where it's, I'm going to replace an offensive coordinator, give myself another year because you can make no bones about it. The defense is awesome, but they have nothing on the offensive end. Is there a world where Dennis Allen keeps his job if the Saints continue to look like this, where it's you give up 18 points and lose, and like, all right, you flounder through the year, maybe win 10 games, get into the playoffs, lose. He keeps his job, and then where would they go on offensive coordinator? Because it feels like somebody's got to go.
Yeah, and look, when Sean Payton stepped aside for that year, Pete Carmichael had discussions about moving into kind of an advisory role, so to say, and letting somebody else take over as offensive coordinator. When the dust settled, they went with this whole continuity thing. They kept Ryan Nielsen, they kept the coaching staff, they talked to Pete and said, we want you back. They didn't end up getting Deshaun Watson, so with Jameis coming back, it was familiarity, continuity. That was the whole thing, that we think we're good and we don't want to change things. Last year, there was a lot of pressure in
Oh. You got that phone call? Bounce back. Come on.
It's probably Pete Carmichael calling him.
Yeah, he's mad.
Fletcher was heated.
Huh?
Fletcher was.
I like that.
I know. The fan was coming back.
I like that. He'll come back. He'll be back.
I think he'll bounce back in. Hot Take Express real quick.
Hot Take Express. Love that.
Joe Brady, offensive coordinator, New Orleans Saints, next year. Book it.
Wow. You think?
What is he doing? He's a quarterback's coach in Buffalo.
Quarterback's not playing great in Buffalo.
I know.
I don't know.
Maybe some different ideals of what you should be doing and what you're doing. It's hard to coach. Oh, Josh Allen. Man likes to, as Big Cat says, push all the buttons.
Hey, let's be honest. Josh Allen, he's every bit of a
straight
up West Coast cowboy out there.
No doubt.
He is a gunslinger, cowboy, own rules.
Yellowstone.
He will do what he wants. Yeah, seriously.
And we got one in ourselves. He got his Carhartt on. Jameis. He's gonna start slinging that thing.
Is he back in there?
Took that shirt in.
Is he not back in there?
No, he's frozen. I don't know what happened.
Uh-oh. Let me text him.
He's probably still talking, too. Just yelling at the phone.
He might be.
But I just don't understand what – I mean, obviously you saw what the Saints offense did last year, and then you bring it back and run it. Wasn't the quarterback, really. I mean, Andy Dalton can manage an offense just fine. That wasn't sexy, but it just felt like there's nothing behind it. You have all these playmakers, Olave, Michael Thomas. You get Alvin Kamara back. It seems like Derek Carr's competent, and it's just not. It's so clunky. At some point,
didn't we just watch Andy Dalton throw for like 300
I'm about to say, he almost threw a 400.
That's what I'm saying. He's competent.
And a win, right?
They lost.
300 plus the other day. It's kind of seeming like it's falling on, well, that guy went there and threw for 300. We had Derek Carr come here.
He's back.
It's a little different, so we'll see.
Sorry about that.
No, trust me. I'm sorry. I'm in the middle of the newsroom now.
I love that.
That was my fault. That was my fault, and I am so sorry.
You don't have to apologize. Good.
My phone died because I was in an edit.
Oh, that is your fault. You do have to apologize for that. I mean, come on,
now,
Jesus, get a charger on that thing, huh?
Full perspective here. Now, my coworkers
Look at
that. That's where the sausage
love
is
They're
that.
going to
made.
have to listen to a couple of minutes of my yell talking.
I love that.
Instead of hiding in an edit bay.
On Apple TV
And
Plus.
so you're saying, you're talking about, finish your thought, because you're right in the middle of it, and I liked where you were going with it, and I want you to keep going.
So I think that and I appreciate the question about Pete Carmichael. I think that they thought about moving on from Pete. Then they kept the continuity there after Sean left. And then last year, there was this, pressure of, hey, Pete, he has to go. They're getting a new defensive coordinator. We're going to have a new quarterback because everybody knew they were moving on from Jameis Winston at that point. And I was a little surprised that they landed on Pete. But the one thing I'll say about Dale Benson, Mickey Loomis, Jeff Ireland, Dennis Allen, and it's to a fault, and it's good and bad, is that they are loyal to a fault. They do not do knee-jerk on airline drive. And I think they felt like, look, we put Pete in a tough spot last year. We gave him Jameis and Andy. We gave him like 2 backups after we couldn't get Deshaun Watson. Let's give him a real quarterback. We still believe in him. He was Peyton's right-hand guy. He still knows offense. He can still scheme it. But look, if things go sideways this year, to answer your question, yes. If the offense continues, it's just the win now, high stakes pro sports. People have to be held responsible. I don't think Dennis Allen's going anywhere. I know Derek Carr's not going anywhere. So if the offense can't figure it out, they will lay it at his feet and say, we gave you a chance with a real dude and some real weapons, and that you didn't get it done. It's time for you to skedaddle after 17 years.
If that does happen, though, who would you want to see take over that role of OC? Lloyd's trying to say Joe Brady. I don't know about all that.
I can't believe y'all are pushing this man out of the building in 3 weeks.
Oh, Pete's gone. He might as well. I am. He's done.
We're just calling for his job already 3 weeks into the season. This is unbelievable.
It's a year and 3 weeks. I don't remember the Dome looking that dead ever. There's no offense.
So I'll say this, I am not trying to push him out. I like Pete Carmichael a lot. I don't think he's ever going to be a head coach.
I don't want to hurt your relationships.
And look, it's not like I have a great relationship with him. I mean, I've crapped on coaches before. Look, the crazy thing is I remember I wrote commentaries and said that Alvin Gentry should be fired as the Pelicans head coach, and then he and I went to dinner like 4 days later. It's one of those things, though. I like Pete. I think he knows offense. But I do think if this offense isn't in the top half of the league and they can't find synergy, it's just the way things work. Yeah. Last year, Dennis was a defensive guy. He wasn't happy with how things worked in the secondary. The fact that they forced so few turnovers, so they pushed Chris Richard out because Dennis didn't like that. Again, I think they wanted Pete to have a chance with a real quarterback. I don't know if they would bring Brady back. I'm not sure how Dennis feels about him. I know that bridge was burned with Sean Payton. Yeah. And again, people can forgive and forget and time heals all. I have a feeling that Dennis may look in-house. Ronald Curry's a guy. People may remember him from his star basketball and football days. He was one of the greatest high school athletes ever, played both sports at North Carolina, is a former NFL player. He's a guy who interviewed for a couple of jobs last year. Maybe they'll feel like he can breathe some new life into this. He's the quarterback's coach right now. If not, again, they wouldn't be looking for coordinators Brady would certainly fit because he coaches a pro-style offense. But they wouldn't be looking for guys, for like an RPO type system.
Right.
That's just not what like Carr's ever going to run. But I think they would probably keep it in-house because, like I said, they are loyal, if not, to a fault at sometimes. So I do think Ronald Curry carries a lot of favor in that building, and they may just say, you know what, Pete, it's time for you to go, and it's time for us to give the younger guy with some fresh ideas before another team steals him and he goes on and becomes some star there.
Hopefully, obviously the Bucs play tonight. Hopefully next week they go on the road, you go at home. You play the Bucs at home. Hopefully they can, maybe it's the Jameis revenge game in Tampa, and hopefully they have a good one. They can kind of right the ship and get it ready for Derek Carr. But schedule doesn't get easier. Obviously the schedule looks easy. You have Houston, who just won over the weekend, and you have these other teams that I think people thought weren't going to be good that are better than they thought. So the schedule seems like it's getting tougher.
NFL, baby.
Yeah, it's the NFL. It's tough. Every game's tough to win. So hopefully they can right the ship. Fletch, I appreciate you always coming on the show. I appreciate your time. We'll continue to have this conversation. Pels starting a month. We're going to have you on here talking Pels because you're a guy. Yeah, you're a guy. There's a lot of questions.
I promise. Like, we're not going to be 0 for 3. That the last 2 times I've done this, my phone has given out like 3 strikes out. So I promise, whatever technical issues
if it happens again, we'll just send you a charger, courtesy of us.
Yeah,
I'll be. What is it like when y'all? Is it like relegated for assignment? What is it called when they get sent down from the big leagues?
DFA.
Oh, you get DFA'd. You got DFA'd.
I'm gonna get demoted to like somebody else in Baton Rouge's podcast. Get like relegated to like just send them on that podcast.
Yeah, never, dude, never. You're our guy. You're always gonna be our guy. Don't worry about it. Listen, we're about as loose as they come. So I appreciate you, dude. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. We'll talk to you next week.
Cool.
All right, man. Boy, I tell you what.
I thought I was watching a 3-0 team Sunday.
Me too.
I'm not even gonna lie to you.
The Fighting Baker Mayfields, if they win tonight, they're going to come into the Superdome 3-0.
Who would that? I mean, that's just literally just right in my face, right? Like
3-0.
Respectfully, I'll take it though. He's played a lot better.
He's
this
played
year.
better.
I'll give him that.
He's played better. They say, oh, he's healthy. He's healthy. He's, whatever.
Yeah, that helps. It does. But
sure, but Saints should be 3-0.
Saints
There's no bones about
and
that.
for anybody who's wondering about my Baker takes came a lot off of me actually seeing some film study of him. Some decisions I thought were just shit. So that's where it kind of came from, not necessarily off of wins and losses and press bullshit.
Yeah,
that's kind of where it came from. So
Chad
played
Johnson,
a lot better this year.
I love that Chad Johnson changed his name back to Chad Johnson.
Look at him. That's unbelievable. Look at him right
He's
now.
one of my favorite people in the world.
Did you see him meet Jamar Chase's dad?
No.
At practice? He came up and was like, "What's good, man?" He's like, and Jamar Chase's dad's like, "You don't know who I am, are you?" He's like, no, he's like, "I'm a huge fan of you, Chad." He goes, "Who are you?" He's like, "Jamar Chase's pop." He goes, "Oh, Papa." He gives him a big old hug. He's like, "Oh, you and the family, coach. Don't even worry about it."
I love that.
Chad
dude.
gets stumped with the, "You don't know who I am."
Hey, bro,
like,
he's got.
Should I? Like, who am I talking to?
He's got such good energy, dude.
Bro,
it's at McDonald's.
That guy doesn't have a bad day.
No,
It's
I love that.
unbelievable.
I wish I had that. I wish I
saw
had
him
that.
talking
energy.
about going on vacation.
It's easy.
He took his family on vacation, and he said he brought 2 outfits, the one that he wore and another one. He said he wore the same outfit the whole time. He was like,
"Oh yeah," his kids made fun of him.
He said, first off, it was not even designer, didn't cost a lot, but he goes, well, I mean, why would I do that? That's just not what I'm going to do. He's like, I brought 2 outfits. I'm keep it simple. I'm a simple guy.
Easy.
I love that.
Steve Jobs with the same shirt every day.
I love that. I love that.
But you saw him talking to Cam Newton where he's like, and you got to get your chef. He's like, "Chef? You need no chef." He's like,
that's your problem.
Yeah, he's like, that's what y'all do. Like, you ain't got no money.
Love that. Joe Burrow starting the game. Get the ball on offense. Let's see what he looks like. Coming with a strained calf.
He's got little.
Was there any doubt? I thought he was playing. I
thought he was going to play.
I never thought he wasn't going to play. I think he's going to have a big one today. I took them.
Good.
Minus 2.5.
I'm just wagering on the fact that he's not healthy and it's just Joe Burrow going to gut it out. They can't start 0-3 as what I think he's thinking.
Let's throw it.
Yeah.
What was that?
Their offense.
Their offensive line is brutal too. Their offense.
No, they invested in it. They got better.
Yeah, but their offense is they're
but
struggling.
He's hurt. I mean, what percent do you think he is?
70%, 60%.
I'm just.
They signed
I want to
A.J.
see how he's
McCarron
going to protect that
yesterday.
thing.
I love that.
I want to see how he's going to protect that thing because
throw it away.
Calf is tricky.
He just,
Yeah, no
a lot
doubt.
of what makes him good, though, is his ability to improvise.
Absolutely.
And so that's why I wasn't betting against Joe Burrow. I was betting against the fact that he wasn't going to play. But now that he is playing, I still think he gives him the best chance to win. But also, if I'm a gambling man, I feel good about the Rams because he can't do what makes Joe good. When you think about all of the plays he made at LSU, it's him buying time, not running, but running to throw. And that calf is going to keep hampering him. They should have sat him the first 3 weeks, like Jamar Chase said, and they wouldn't have this problem. But now they're going to have to deal with this all year.
Hopefully not. We'll see. Before we move on, that conversation with Fletcher is brought to you by our friends at FCO Development. FCO is a civil construction company. Civil construction company based out of Lafayette, Louisiana. They specialize in site drainage, site utilities, earthwork, site clearing, house pads, ponds, demo work, and hurricane cleanup. If any of those things, you need a job for any of those, look at Joe. Look at Joe just making plays happen. Call 337-534-4675. The number is 337-534-4675. How was y'all's tailgating experience this weekend?
Smash that over on your timeline.
Well, it wasn't me. It wasn't my wife either.
You got Ubered.
I got Ubered, and then
have you heard the story,
my
J-Man?
brother-in-law.
I have not.
So I had an
all-time
Uber
excuse about to come out.
No. I had an Uber scheduled at my house. He was at my house on time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My brother-in-law, Mike Hollander,
I know that guy.
tells me, he's like, hey, y'all, I have a parking pass. Y'all just ride with me. I'm going to be at the house at 1:40. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. So, actually, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go in the Uber. You just take Allie. That's fine. So I walk in. I go in. And as I'm walking outside, the Uber is leaving my driveway. I was 30 seconds too late, apparently. I didn't have the number because it was the Uber app, so it was gone.
You left him.
He left me. So I was like, all right, no problem. Mike's coming at 1:40. I'm good. Mike didn't get to my house till 2:10. He had to shower. I didn't get out of there till 2:40. But I had to, yeah. So it was.
Wait, time out. He got to your house at 2:10.
He took a 5-minute shower. We got on the road. There was no traffic. We got there, parking past 2:40.
I was like, well, how in the hell did y'all get out there at 2:40?
We went down River Road, no traffic. Not one part of traffic.
Wow.
So 2:40.
River Road's the move.
It was great. I was in the back of the bed because there's 3 kids, so there's 3 car seats in the back seat. My wife and my sister sit in the front seat. I'm sitting on the ice chest like this in the back of the truck,
swinging,
watching the end of the Florida State game on my phone. It was great. Actually, I enjoyed the ride. I
Better than Uber.
Very much enjoyed the ride. That's what happened.
He came to the tailgate hot. He's like, you won't believe what happened to me.
It was unbelievable. It was my fault. It was nobody else blaming me.
I didn't get out there until literally, I think 4 o'clock. So, yeah, I was pretty much later than you.
You were.
It was
fun. We had a good time though. I drank a lot of Heineken Silvers.
I saw a lot of. There's this beer dice game going around, and people are crushing Heineken Silvers at the tailgate.
Beer dice. Show me. Tell me.
Tell me more.
You're just playing craps with beer, like 7-Eleven Snake Eyes.
Nice.
And if you get Snake Eyes, you got to
next
chug the whole
time.
beer.
Then look, in 2 weeks, when you got the home game against Auburn, I'm gonna go ahead and bring all these cases of Heineken Silver. We're gonna play beer dice with Heineken Silver.
Beer dice.
A little beer dice. I like that.
But overall, good tailgate experience.
Overall,
We'll set it
great.
off in the stadium.
Overall, I felt like the stadium was a little dead early on.
It was.
The offense obviously didn't do anything to make it live. Second half was better.
Well, it's a lot of what we talked about. If Jayden Daniels gets off to a slow start, there's a lot of moaning and groaning in the stadium of gets a little uneasy. Defense isn't playing great. You need something to
that's
pop.
the other thing is the defense.
I feel like it's supposed to come from the defensive side.
Right. Yep.
But there is that underlying thing of if people feel like the right people aren't on the field for offense,
Here we
when
go
it doesn't
again.
start out great, you get that moaning and groaning.
Mm-hmm.
But it is supposed to be the defense that kind of gets the crowd going, gets the crowd live, kind of gets you going on that side. But if we're just giving up points on that, it's kind of tough to do.
Yeah, exactly. So, but once it got, and then a lot of people left early. There's a lot of, if you're in the actual stadium, I know y'all are up, on your high horse watching people, in your
Lloyd loves to do this.
ebony and ivory castle
he loves
watching
to do this.
people leave. But
Shouldn't you be able to see them better from up there?
that's
Boy,
what I'm
I tell
saying.
you
can
what.
see the exodus.
Tell you what.
But if you're in it, the people that stayed, the 90,000 strong that stayed, those are the people you want in the stadium anyway.
Tell you what. Contraflow.
Oh, I got caught in the snake.
Coach, you got caught in the snake.
No.
We might have been right next to each other.
No, we weren't.
We walked, and we just kept walking, saying, "Oh, we'll just keep going. There's some point we're gonna be able to get to an Uber. We're gonna walk far enough to get."
Where did you stop?
All the
They're
way to
not
Ben
going
Hur.
there.
Where did you stop walking?
I stopped at the apartments in Ben Hur.
Nah, you tripping, cuz.
Well, I took a pedicab to Fred's,
Nah, cuz.
thinking like, oh, if I
Would
get
you
there,
stop
like
in for
maybe they
Heineken
can.
Silver?
I was like, maybe yeah. I was like, maybe they can get me from behind, right?
Oh, nice.
That sounded bad.
Whoa. Hey, yo.
Maybe they can
I
get
thought we
to
was
me.
talking about the game on Saturday. Yo.
Maybe they can get to us from the back roads to come there,
From where?
right? I was at Fred's. We didn't go into Fred's. We just stopped there in Tigerland. The guys on the phone with me can't figure it out. So I'm walking. We just keep walking. Like, all right, we're just gonna keep going.
Who's
Keep
the
going.
crew?
Just me and Allie.
Oh. What's the tension level?
It's growing. It's growing.
Had to be firm at this
It's
point.
growing. So we get down to by A&M Mart, and the guy's like, we see another couple, dude, his wife, and their son, little son. Hey, our Uber's gonna pick us up at that Chevron right there. I'm like, okay, so they must be able to get there. We walk to the Chevron. No Uber can get to us. They're just not figuring it out. So we walk down Ben Hur. We sit down on the like apartment bench and sit there for an hour and a half waiting for the Uber.
What y'all talking about?
Oh, it was not good. We were not happy. Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
I will drive.
I had a pretty bad
I will
one,
have
too.
my truck out there every game from here on out.
I'm gonna be honest
Oh,
with
I'm
you.
sure that was
Hey,
part of
I'm
the
gonna be honest
deal.
with you. You want to know why? Because I didn't realize that the contraflow and how they've said, hey, we'll absolve some of this traffic by doing it this way. You realize that like from the stadium, you're only allowed to go.
Yep. Oh,
what
no.
is it? Westbound, I guess. So River Road,
Is going out.
Nicholson,
And Nicholson's going this way.
Burbank. No,
Yeah.
no. Everything is going out that way. 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
I tried to leave from walk-ons to go back the other way,
do
obviously,
that.
because I'm the other way. No, so they make me go. They make me go down Nicholson. I get all the way to Brightside. I'm like, all right, I should be able to get on River Road and go back that way. So I go down Brightside, get to the end of Brightside. They're still controlling moving everyone out the other way. So I turn around. I come all the way back out. I go all the way to Ben Hur, where he was.
Pick him up.
Actually, no, I went.
When
past
were
Ben Hur.
you there? When were you there?
Did you see him on the
Matter
bench?
of fact, I'm sorry. I went past Ben Hur.
I probably saw you.
No, you didn't, because I went past Ben Hur. I went all the way down to Gardier, got on Gardier to Blue Bonnet to all the way. I went all the way across the world.
But you got home before I did. Promise you that. Coach, I didn't come till midnight.
That was about 11.
Yeah. It was bad.
30 of them things.
I will tell you, I will drive. I will stop
Driving's
drinking.
perfect for you though, because you just gonna
Go
go
River
yeah.
Road. That's what we do.
I didn't have my
Back
car.
home?
So it would have been perfect had I had my car. That was brutal. It was brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, there's every Uber driver on the planet's like, I ain't going on campus
They
after.
can't.
No,
No,
that's
like
what
they
I'm saying.
can't.
Well,
Like,
and here's the deal. We
even
left,
if you tried, like, who would willingly
we
go
left a tad early just so that we could do that because I knew that we had to Uber back.
left early?
I had to watch it on my phone because it was I'll explain to you after, but we had to leave early. And
Food poisoning?
no. And I was watching my phone, so I was like, oh, we're going to be there. There's no traffic. But they had already set up for contraflow. I was like, oh, no.
When do they set up?
Middle of the 4th, I guess.
No, I think it was pretty late. Maybe so. That's probably about the time.
Middle of the 4th. I don't know. It was brutal.
Can somebody explain it to me?
Contraflow?
I know what
one way in, one way out.
I understand what it is, but where am I supposed to go?
You can't. I mean,
You just because like what Jay Mitch said, it's like
unless you have your own car, you can't. That's the only way you can do it.
No, but I mean, still, like if you
could get
say
caught in
you're-
the snake.
What if you're someone
got
that
that.
came from the other side of the bridge, right? Like
how am I supposed to get it? You don't let
you
you
gotta
just
go all
go.
the way around town to get back on. Yeah, like it's.
There's no way out.
I'm not a fan of how they do it, but
Boy, Matt Stafford loves this
They don't
guy,
do it for
huh?
me.
Pakua Nakua, or whatever his name is.
Yeah, puka puka.
sounds like a system.
No, no look. Picked him up
yeah,
in fantasy.
I don't know. I couldn't get him. I don't know the answer to that. Get a helicopter,
It seems
fly over it.
that was a weak flyover. Copters?
Yeah, I don't like the copter flyover.
What were they for? It was like the National Guard.
Yeah, I don't know.
Give me a stealth bomber. Give me that F-35 nobody can find. Fly that thing. That
stole
would
a
have been.
big
Did you see who
charge.
was there?
Who?
That motherfucker's not real. Tiffany Gomez.
What?
The girl from the plane
Was where?
at the LSU game.
Supposedly.
Really?
Yes.
Supposedly. Yeah.
She's from Dallas.
Where'd you see
She's
her?
friends with Bunky Perkins
Who?
on Twitter.
Who?
He's a big LSU account. But she was there, took a snap in the stands.
So she's an LSU person.
Yeah, well, now it's her first game.
Welcome.
She probably stayed the whole time.
Crazy
she probably
lady.
flew out.
Yeah, probably. free airline miles.
Contraflow, she'd get me out of here.
Free airline miles. She saw some crazy people. That's what happened. All right. You want to get to the seggies?
Did I do them? Did a lot of Doc. Oh, I do have my mistake today. Did y'all see? Let me pull up the video. But did you see Lou Holtz versus Lou Holtz?
Oh, unbelievable.
Oh, it's the best. Dude.
Unbelievable.
And they were talking
The
about
magic tricks. They both did magic tricks.
Unbelievable.
But Lou Holtz is the mistake of the day because he just pissed off Ryan Day. Did you see him in the postgame press conference?
No.
Not press conference, on the field.
On the field.
Yeah.
I did not.
Ryan Day was very animated towards Lou, basically.
So, mistake of the day brought to you by.
How about Mac Jones giving Sauce Gardner a little cup check?
Fucking hate that dude. He's such a piece. He's such a blow.
And then he ran away.
Yeah.
And then he ran away.
That's the third time he's hit
What else
somebody
is he
in the
gonna do?
nuts. But mistake of the day brought to you by Doe's Eat Place. If you didn't see it, this is just going to be the Ryan Day clip of him talking about Lou Holtz after the interview, which was on the Pat McAfee show, where they have Ty, who is part of the panel, that does a Lou Holtz impersonation, which is hilarious. But he got Lou Holtz to say some things about Ohio State that apparently made Ryan Day very offended, and it turned out to be their rallying cry for Ohio State to beat Notre Dame, which I don't think Pat McAfee intended, but bygones be bygones. This is what happens when you step into the college football world. And Pat was like, college football's wild. Like, they'll find anything. So here's Ryan Day after the game talking.
Or about a coach, but y'all want to keep talking about him like.
But say if it wasn't for clicks, you just literally look around and you say, hey, turn that off, or get out the room. Let me talk to my team. And nobody ever knows about it.
No doubt.
Let's put it on Oregon football social media.
Yeah, no doubt. That's clicks.
That's clicks.
That's clicks.
Somebody wrote that for him.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
That's what I'm saying. It makes it even worse.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think it was that great of a speech, but
No.
No,
That was
but I'm
mistake.
saying-
The mistake of the day was brought to you by our friends at Doe's
Eat
Eat Place. Of course. Actually, we're due for a nice little team dinner, a team lunch.
Due
or
for
dinner.
Doe's.
Team lunch. Doe's. I haven't had a burger in a minute. I'd like to have one over there from Doe's.
spot to have one.
It is a spot. Our next segment is
And
brought to you.
LSU's winning.
Huh?
It's always
And
more
LSU's
fun.
winning is always fun. Maybe a Thursday. Not this Thursday, next Thursday maybe. Yeah, I think I should do. First of the month, first of the year. Like first Thursday of the month. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go. Got it out. Our curtain calls are brought to you by our friends at Assured Partners.
And?
Me.
Okay.
I got a good one. You got one?
Yeah, I'll lead it off. I may have two, or I don't know which one deserves it, but I'll go. Do I give it to Travis Kelce for turning every 14-year-old girl into a football or a Chiefs fan this Sunday? Because obviously he somehow swooned Taylor Swift to be in the building, and that's apparently a thing now. So maybe I give it to Travis Kelce, or maybe I flip it around to the other side and go more towards the spectator side, where Randy Johnson was pretty much one of the first ones to do it, but seeing Ken Griffey Jr. as a photographer at the Cardinals game, as a, I won't say a licensed photographer, but as like a professional photographer at the Cardinals game was dope as hell, right? Like seeing someone who's accomplished what he's done and has found something else that, one, he has a passion for, and two, is obviously he's probably pretty good at it at this point now. It was pretty good. Was cool to see, but he's not the first to do it. We've seen Randy Johnson do it a lot, but it was cool to see. So I'll give a little bit of both to give a love.
I love
love
that.
to both of them.
I love
that. Was
that.
cool to see that.
That's awesome. What a hobby.
It's a great hobby.
You think it's hard for him to get credentialed? Like, I'm Ken Griffey Jr.
Credentials or that big ass camera.
I don't think that's super hard. You have one?
See, I would push back a little bit on this. I'm nervous about this. Taylor Swift.
I was too until they won by $1 million. I
Oh,
get it.
no.
They beat the Bears, but you know.
I'm talking about the fact that she's commandeering football from us. Like now, this has become. That's the only thing I saw was Travis
Swift?
Kelce, Taylor
Well,
Swift.
that was my curtain call.
Oh, you think it's a good thing?
I'm just saying. No, my curtain call is him specifically.
Pulled a long back.
Oh, let me go. I'll do it. My curtain call is Travis Kelce because he keeps winning. One, I do like Taylor Swift. I think she's great. right? 2, I respect Travis Kelce for going after an international superstar and actually
He did it the old baseball way too, by the way.
accomplishing it. Hey, here's my baseball with my number on it. No, he gave him a friendship bracelet or whatever the hell she does with his number on it. Shot his shot, won, and not only did he get a date with her and get her to the game and the suite with her mom, his jersey sales have spiked 400% since all the Swifties are very loyal to Taylor Swift, which means they're going to be loyal to Taylor Swift's new boo, who is Travis Kelce, which means Travis Kelce is winning.
Better not mess it up.
And the NFL is winning, and you're going to have a badass song about you if you mess up. Or
and them jersey sales
if you don't mess up.
Burn the jersey.
That's me. That's my current cause. He just keeps winning. He keeps winning.
I'm just concerned because it wasn't about football anymore. Like, y'all could stay on that side of the fence. I'm going to stay over here. I don't like to mix this is World War III whenever this goes south. It's literally the world's America's biggest sport versus America's biggest musician or has the biggest cult following of all time. It's going to come to blows at some point.
What is?
This relationship. Like, fans versus fans. I believe that Taylor Swift could take on almost anything and win, especially with the Swifties. The NFL is going to be their toughest test yet. They're just learning the rules, which is fun. The NFL put out a post. Because did you see that circulating on social media? Or they're like, what's the rules of football? I'm watching for the first time today. Like, you get 4 chances to get 10 yards. If you do it, rinse and repeat. If not, you get to kick it to the other team or go for it. And they were just breaking down what football looks like. So you get a whole lot of people watching for the first time.
But I guarantee the NFL loves it. They've been they are steadily trying to figure out ways to broaden the viewership, if you will.
This is a halftime.
Right? They just said, thank you. You brought these in for us.
This is the Super Bowl halftime show for a whole year. They're going to get it every Chiefs game.
I like that.
I can't do it.
I can tell you right now, if this thing keeps going, I know who's doing the next Super Bowl. This one's already been announced, so I know who's doing the next one if this thing keeps
She's going to make a surprise appearance.
She might.
You think?
She
yes. Might. The NFL's all in on this.
They should be all in on it, though.
This is a false construct relationship for the NFL to get viewers.
I don't.
I mean, that's about as far of a reach as it could possibly be, right?
Do you think she snuck out in the popcorn machine? Do you see that?
You know what else I like? I love the fact that she's sitting right next to Travis Kelce's mom in his suite and, like, all about it. You know who's going to be upset? You know who's going to be upset about this?
She was cheering during warm-ups.
No doubt.
The game hadn't even started yet.
You know who's going to be upset about this?
You want to say it? 3, 2, 1.
Pat
Jackson
Mahomes'
Mahomes.
wife.
Oh.
Pat Mahomes' wife.
Oh, even better. Yeah.
By the way, did y'all see all the players during the game
wanted.
trying to find her in the suite?
Huh?
Tell me y'all saw that. Please.
Oh, and
the video of Mahomes.
Here's the deal. Here's what I love about just sports always. No matter how much of a superstar you are in sports,
they love to see
when it comes down to it, you're all the same. In baseball, if somebody was dating, a teammate was dating somebody who's famous, everybody's going to be, and you're friends with that person, you're going to be looking up and you're going to try to like, hey, how you doing? Wave at him, just try to embarrass the guy. Pat Mahomes did the exact same thing. Oh, where's she? And you saw Kelce didn't want to look. He was like, I'm just going to keep turning around because, I don't want to make it seem like I'm
doing too much.
I love that.
And you did the celebration. That's her dance. It's very interesting.
I
I'm telling you, keep an eye out. The NFL's in on it.
I respect that.
The NFL's in on it.
I think so.
They're not in on it.
They're getting in on it. They weren't in on it from the start. I can promise you that.
Travis Kelce just keeps winning, dude. That's my current call.
Did you see her leaving the popcorn machine?
No.
They had to sneak her out. This is what the big theory is.
What did they do? They carted out a popcorn machine and she jumped out?
She was in it because they had a whole lot of people waiting for her to leave the suite. And the only thing that they wheeled out was the popcorn machine from the suite. And then she never came out. It's like she never left. Look, I'll show you the video real quick. And I believe that. I do believe this.
You would find this one. I never saw this one.
Hold on. But I truly believe that she was in this thing because it fits her profile perfectly.
What are you trying to say?
It's
What's
tall.
the popcorn machine look like?
I love Lloyd conspiracy theories.
I mean, I feel like we would see.
She's in the popcorn thing.
Looking at this popcorn machine thing.
No, not this. This is, look, wait. Just get that. They think she's in there.
What?
Yeah. That's how she got out the game.
What?
That's her.
That's her.
It's like the broom thing. That was her.
Y'all are so ridiculous.
Yes.
They never saw her leave the game though. Yeah, she's getting wheeled out. That would be. You know how famous you have to be to do that?
You don't have to. There is a private player's entrance. Like, there's a way you can get out without people seeing you.
There's another door there. I promise you. It's not just one way in, one
But
way
y'all,
out.
If she did that, good for her.
Did you not watch The Last Dance when they had the one way, when they had the trick door for?
that's
Dennis
leaving the
Rodman?
locker room. This is leaving the suite.
There's a way out.
There's a way. Always a way out, dude.
It's that. That's the way out.
No.
First off, ain't no way that suite had barricades and a red carpet to it. That's the only one. Like, that's not the suite itself.
You think the owner walks down from his suite in front of everybody?
It's a woman.
What?
Grace Hunt.
I said, do you think the owner walks out of the suite and walks in front of everyone?
Yeah, nobody wants to meet the owner.
That's
They
not
want to
true.
meet Taylor Swift. She's more popular than the owner is.
I understand that, but like people, like if the team had a bad game or something, like the owner's not going to walk in front of everybody and get worn out. Like they're going to go. There's a way out for the owner, and they're not as famous. They're going to let that. They're going to let Taylor Swift do the same thing.
Don't do this, Lloyd. You're closer.
I know.
This. Don't
I
do
know.
this.
You wanted to have him because it's a really cool conversation piece.
Well, I'm just
Don't
thinking
do
if she
this.
went over to Kelsey's house, like, she smelled like popcorn. Like, what happened? How did this
Oh, my God.
get hop in the shower?
See y'all Wednesday.
All right, that's all we got for you today on
You
this
really
beautiful
like
Monday.
popcorn.
See y'all Wednesday.
Enjoy the doubleheader, the Monday night doubleheader.
Who you got?
Enjoy, huh?
Who you got?
I got the Bengals -2.5, and I took
Over?
the over the Eagles Bucks game, which I don't like right now. It's only 3. It's 10-3.
10-3?
10-3 now. 10-3 now.
I don't like the double. I don't like this.
This has to be last week, right? Or is there one more?
I don't know. They should, but if they're gonna do it, just do one at 6 and one at 9. Like, I'll stay up later
You
and
can't
watch
do
the
the
first
9.
half.
Baker's throwing a pick already.
Did he?
I'm just saying.
Pick 6?
I don't know.
Baker's dozen?
I don't know.
Like at 13?
Maybe. All right. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. What do you have for the game? You have the over the 44. I took that with you for the Bucks and Eagles game.
Yes.
I took 2.5. You
You're
took
gonna be mad at
the
me.
Rams.
Yes, I did take the Rams. That was pre Burrow, but let's see. You're gonna be mad at me because I adjusted the lines quite a bit. Bets. And had a good weekend. Feel good about it. So I have a little 3-leg parlay still out there. Under, thanks to Mo. Steelers, Raiders. Cash that. I have over, there's a 3-leg parlay. Under and Steelers, Raiders, 46.5. We got the dub next to that one. Eagles, Bucks, over 42. And Rams, Bengals, under 48. Because
42 is the line. I got
moved it.
40,
It was 45. I moved it to 42.
He bought down 3 points.
Mm-hmm. It's still plus 276.
Oh, it was part of the parlay.
Yes. And then I have Rams, money line at plus 118. And that's it. That's our action for the day.
You went in. And I have a great day gambling. Great weekend.
What do you think the over-under is for LSU and
Ole Miss?
Yeah.
63.5.
66.
Wow. What do you think the over-under for Colorado USC is?
69.
60.
I think it's 71.5.
Really?
I think.
They're not going to score that much. I mean, the Colorado thing's over. They needed Travis Hunter.
Have you seen USC's defense?
I saw Colorado.
What you mean they need Travis Hunter? Travis Hunter couldn't have blocked and or got
USC's defense stinks.
Yeah, they do. But
Stinks.
Colorado just doesn't have the horses. They didn't really. The TCU thing was fun.
But it's
No,
not
for
the
sure.
Travis. It's not the Travis.
I know,
Hunter
but that's what made it
horses.
more fun to watch. Now it just feels like they're struggling.
I mean, it's
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're not, look, nobody thought they were going undefeated.
No. Dan Lenning certainly
That
did.
thing was set at 3.5 for a reason.
Yeah, look, I said before the year that I think they can win 5-6 games. If they win 5-6, that's a big year
Massive
for them.
win.
Yeah, for sure. All right, enjoy the rest of your Monday. We'll be back here live in studio on Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. We will be talking about obviously the weekend, about sports, obviously. We'll have some guests on talking about whatever you want them to talk about. It's Ask Mikey and Mitch Wednesday, so put your questions on. Ask your questions to us on Twitter. Put them in the chat whenever the show is.
Like
live.
and subscribe.
Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you can't watch us, you like listening to us or anywhere you get your pods. We appreciate the love and support. We will be back on Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.
See you.
Just go 1-0 every day.
10% better every day.
Every day.
1% better.
1%
Is it
better.
1% better every day?